Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for attending. My name is Wendy Bray, and I am the lead program specialist for Strategic Outreach and Communications Education and Training Portfolio. Thank you for your patience. Today, we will be discussing doing business with Department of Navy, and I will introduce the speakers in a few seconds. So before we get started, a few housekeeping notes. This small business development training is being recorded, and a copy of the presentation will be sent to all attendees by tomorrow morning. You have been muted, but the chat box and the Q&A box are open for you to be able to communicate with us. Please direct all of your questions to that Q&A box that you see. We are only able to track and respond to your questions during this live session when you add them to the Q&A box. Now, this training is part of our Diversifying Your Portfolio series. An example of a benefit is having a diversified customer base may protect your business when there is a shift in the market. During these sessions, the Department of Veteran Affairs Office of Small and Disadvantaged Business Utilization introduces the small business community to potential buyers and potential partners so that you can learn about how to do business with them. Today, Mr. Austin Johnson and Ms. Destiny White have joined us to talk about Department of the Navy. Before they get started, let me tell you a little bit about our speakers today. Mr. Johnson currently serves as the Director for the Marine Corps Systems Command. He served as Deputy Associate Director of the Office of Small Business Programs beginning in 2011. Briefly serving as the Acting Associate Director of the Office Small Business Programs between October 2017 to June 2018. Prior to that assignment, he served as the Deputy Director for the Marine Corps Systems Command, Corporate Communications from 2004 to 2011. Mr. Johnson is a retired military officer serving for more than 20 years in the U.S. Army as a dual-track air defense artillery officer with a functional area specialty of public affairs. His military awards and decorations include the Legion of Merit, the Defense Meritorious Service Medal, and the Army Meritorious Service Medal. His civilian service awards include the Department of Navy Small Business Team Awards in 2012 and the Department of Navy Secretary Cup in 2013 and 2019 for outstanding business program achievement. He also received the Federal Length of Service Certificate in 2019 for more than 35 years of combined military and federal government service. Most recently, Mr. Johnson received the Department of Navy Office of Small Business Program Director's Award for Outstanding Small Business Performance in fiscal year 2021. Now, Ms. White has served as the Department of Navy Office of Small Business Programs Public Affairs Office for the past 3 years. Her duties include providing strategic communications and visual information direction to support and promote Department of Navy small business programs and initiatives. She has more than 15 years of government service. Ms. Johnson, Mr. Johnson, and Ms. White, thank you so much for being here with us today. Now, Ms. White, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Good afternoon, and thank you very much for that introduction. As Ms. Bray stated, I am Destiny White, the Public Affairs Officer for the Department of Navy's Office of Small Business Programs, led by our distinguished director, Mr. Jimmy Smith. On behalf of OSBP, we thank you for joining us today. We're excited to partner with the Veterans Administration to bring you this series in order to increase our veteran-owned and service-disabled veteran-owned small business performance. Since the beginning of the pandemic, we've hosted over 50 webinars of our own, which we provided a plethora of information on doing business with the Department of Navy. You can find any previously recorded events on our website under Outreach and the Past Events tab, or you can visit our YouTube channel or scan the barcode you see on the screen. I would like you to direct you to our website where you can find a wealth of information, including how to locate your small business professional and find information on doing business with the Department of the Navy, including information on the 10 buying commands, as well as long-range acquisition forecasts for each of the commands. To stay current on any additional collaborations we may have, consider joining our registering for our mailing list. The newsletters are sent via email once a week, and the sign-up link can also be found on the homepage of our website. We share plenty of upcoming industry days, buying command outreach events, small business opportunities on each of our social media platforms, which include Facebook at facebook.com/Navy OSBP, Twitter /Don_OSBP, and our LinkedIn page. Today's speaker is Mr. Austin Johnson. I don't know, is he on yet?
Hi, yes.
So over to you, AJ.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. As has been stated, I am Austin Johnson.
I'm sorry, give me 1 second so I can get him back. Were you able to hear him, Destiny?
I heard him, but he was a little bit choppy.
Okay, give us 1 second, please.
Can everyone hear me, or can anyone hear me?
Are you able to hear him, Destiny or Nicole?
I can hear him. Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. We can hear you, Mr. Johnson.
Okay. So if we're looking, Ms. Wendy, if we're on that first slide, once again, I'm Austin Johnson. Everyone who's been around the small business community for a while knows me as AJ. I've been doing small business now within the Department of the Navy and the Marine Corps. I'm currently in my 11th year. I absolutely love what I do. I'm very, very passionate about assisting small businesses, particularly veteran-owned and service-disabled veteran-owned small businesses after serving for 20 years in the United States Army. And so the mission of the Office of Small Business Programs at Marine Corps Systems Command is simply to support the Commandant's mission of supporting the warfighter, while at the same time ensuring that we provide opportunities for small business concerns. And so everything that I do each day in helping the Commandant to achieve his mission and helping small businesses to win opportunities within the federal government is a win-win, in my opinion. Next slide. The Marine Corps Systems Command mission is simply to equip our Marines with the most capable ground weapon and information technology systems available in order to maximize their expeditionary readiness and combat effectiveness. Being a former soldier myself, I know how important it is to make sure that our men and women who are deployed in harm's way have the absolute best equipment, the best support possible, because when we deploy our young men and women into harm's way, we want to make sure that they not only win in battle, but they live and survive to return home to their loved ones. And the mission that our men and women in uniform do to support our national security strategy and our national defense strategy absolutely cannot be overstated. Next, please. The mission, again, of the Small Business Office, as well as the vision, is there before you. I would just like to reiterate once again that the primary mission of the small business programs is to support the Commandant's mission while providing opportunities for small businesses And of course, our vision within the small business program is to promote acquisition opportunities where small businesses can best support the needs of our Marines and sailors. Our vision is also to ensure that whenever we're doing acquisition planning or coming up with an acquisition strategy, that small businesses are considered as the first option and not an afterthought when our program managers and our contract teams are coming up with those strategies to best support our men and women in uniform. Just a little bit about understanding the United States Marine Corps buying structure. There's 10 buying commands within the Department of the Navy. However, within the United States Marine Corps, 2 major buying commands. The Marine Corps Systems Command, as well as the United States Marine Corps for installations and logistics. The difference is Marine Corps Systems Command manage all those programs whereby we obtain weapons and IT systems, as well as those programs in support of those areas best suited to equip our Marines. Headquarters Marine Corps I&L, or Installation Logistics, manages all those installations and logistics where our Marines are stationed. Each one of those installations, such as Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, Camp Pendleton, California, Marine Corps Logistics Base in Albany, all of those bases, all of those camps and installations have what we call a regional contracting office. And my colleague at Headquarters Marine Corps I&L Small Business Programs, Carlton Hagens, has a small business deputy co-located with each of those regional contracting offices throughout the Marine Corps. Just a few things to remember when you're doing business with the Marine Corps is first, you want to understand the customer, meaning you want to understand what it is that we buy and what type of support we're trying to provide our Marines. Secondly, we don't want to know just exactly what you sell or only what you sell, but we want to know that you can provide a solution for a problem that we have equipping our Marines. And lastly, you can, if you're able to show us how we can get to you in an efficient manner, meaning if you're up on any of the GSA schedules, if you're up on NASA Suit, if you're up on Seaport Next Generation, and of course, we would also like to be aware of any socioeconomic categories that your small business may have, such as veteran-owned small business, service-disabled veteran-owned small business, aid, women-owned small business, or hub zone. And so when we say show us how we can get to you, that puts the onus on us as well as you. Each and every buying command within the Navy has a website. I would encourage each of you to go out during your market research by visiting those websites to find out what we buy and what kind of services we need in order for you to decide if you want to do business with us or not. Next slide. What this slide basically shows is simply that we, even though within the Marine Corps, have an air element. Of course, we have littoral combat ships where we conduct our expeditionary operations from the sea. And we have an air element, but we do not purchase any aircrafts. Our naval air system partners at Pax River acquires the aircraft for the Marine Corps. Of course, we don't do ships. Our Naval Sea Systems Command there at the Navy, Washington Navy Yard, procures all of our ships. Navy Facilities and Engineering Command up in the upper right-hand corner there, they acquire all of our buildings, all of our real estate, any construction projects, those contracts are awarded through our NAVFAC or Naval Facilities and Engineering Command. And then our NAVWAR or our Naval Information Warfare Systems are acquired through our Navy Warfare Information Systems out at San Diego, California. Next slide, please, Wendy. This slide just basically depicts our force design. We're currently operating under Force Design 2030. So we're looking back in 2020 when our 38th Commandant assumed his position. He came out with the 38 Commandant's planning guidance. I would encourage every one of you all to either Google or come out to our website, review a copy of that and read it, because that gives you the mindset or the philosophy that's being used right now within the Marine Corps on the types of things that we're going to buy for the next 10 years. One of the critical things that we've done over the past 2 years is stand up what we call a Marine Littoral Regiment. And the first one was stood up out of Kenai Bay, Hawaii. And so what we've done with those regiments is we've gotten rid of some of our larger equipment, such as tanks, and we're using those dollars that we used to use to purchase tanks to purchase other types of technology, as well as other vehicles, such as our amphibious combat vehicle. And so within the Marine Corps, because resources, as we all know, are very, very limited these days, we're having to move dollars from one set of equipment or one set of services to use to bolster other areas within the Marine Corps, so that we can maintain that warfighting capability that our country has become accustomed to. So the Marine Corps Systems Command plays a very critical role in that, because we are one of the two major buying commands within the Marine Corps. The pandemic, of course, which basically didn't slow us down 2 years ago, but it did cause us to operate a little bit differently. As many of you may be aware, a lot of us have been working teleworking or working remote, but in some instances, in some cases, the efficiencies have increased instead of decreasing. But even with that in mind, we realize that we still have a lot of work to do. Next slide, please, Wendy. The next two charts that you're going to see basically just shows you the command and control relationship and how we're organized within the Marine Corps. The commander or the commanding officer or Marine Corps Systems Command has a dual, if you will, a dual command and control responsibility. He responds to the Commandant of the Marine Corps, as well as the Assistant Secretary of the Navy for Research, Development, and Acquisition. And so what you see on this first chart is how the Marine Corps Systems Command is organized using program executive offices or supporting program executive offices, such as PEO Digital and PEO Manpower, Logistics, and Business. We also support portfolio managers for our logistics combat element systems, our command element systems, our ground combat element systems. And then we have direct reporting program managers, such as the program manager for training systems, the program manager for Marine Corps cyber operations, the commanding officer for Marine Corps tactical systems support, and the amphibious vehicle test branch out at Pendleton, California. And then finally, we have the only PEO for land systems within the Marine Corps that we support. And they basically manage our heavy wheel vehicles, such as the advanced amphibious assault vehicle, the amphibious combat vehicle, and then some of our larger radar and ground-based air defense systems. Next chart, Wendy. This organization chart just basically shows how the command and staff elements are organized and who each and every one of those staff sections, as well as the portfolio and program managers, who they report to for authority, acquisition authority, as well as who their rating officials are or who they respond to or work for. Next slide, Wendy. This particular slide just basically shows the different locations where we have our workforce located. The primary location for Marine Corps Systems Command is at Marine Corps Base Quantico. As you can see, we have well over 1,500 employees working out of Marine Corps Base Quantico. Our next largest site is Camp Pendleton, California. We have a little bit over 200 personnel, Marine and civilian, out at Camp Pendleton, California. We have personnel in Orlando, Florida, for our program manager for training systems. We have personnel located in Albany, Georgia, supporting our Marine Corps Logistics Command. And then we have smaller elements located in Kansas City, Missouri, Warren, Michigan, Fort Meade, Maryland, and Picatinny, New Jersey. Right now, our current workforce is around 2,500, but we have a goal to downsize to somewhere in the neighborhood of about 2,300 employees, both military and civilian, by the end of fiscal year 2024. Next slide, please. This particular chart basically, again, explains that the Marine Corps has two separate buying commands, or two separate and distinct heads of contract authority: the Marine Corps Systems Command and Headquarters Marine Corps Installation and Logistics. And in accordance with the Navy Marine Corps Acquisition Regulations Supplement, MARCOR SYSCOM serves as the Navy Systems Command for Marine Corps Ground Weapon Information Technology Systems. A couple of the highlights for FY21, because we haven't completely closed the books on 22 yet, is in FY21 we completed more than 2,300 contract actions valued at over $2.2 billion. Of that $2.29 billion, I'm happy to report that 27.76% of those contracts were awarded to small businesses, with an amount of about $580 million awarded to small business. And over the last 5 years, I'm happy to say that we have awarded in excess of $520 million per year for small businesses. So we've consistently awarded between 20 and 30% of our overall spend to small businesses. And this year, I'm hoping for the same amount of success that we have enjoyed over the years to be expanded even further. Are we still there?
Yes, we're still here.
Okay. I lost power here on my computer, so I've lost track of the slide. So if you could tell me the title of the next slide, I'll just talk it from memory, okay?
Okay, so equipping our Marines.
Can you give me the first bullet?
Responses to RFI, the importance and capability statements competitive.
Okay, great. So that's one of the key things that that we try and do within the contracting directorate is we want to make sure that we're encouraging small businesses to respond to those RFIs and those sources sought, so that when we are doing our market research, we can justify to our contracts teams and our program managers to set opportunities aside for small business. So it's very, very important that small business owners respond whenever possible and whenever feasible to those RFIs. A couple of other things to remember when doing business with us is, okay, I'm back up, thank goodness. A couple other things is to always go out to sam.gov or Seaport Next Generation if you're registered, to see what opportunities are upcoming within the Marine Corps Systems Command. Also, as far as subcontract and partnerships, we urge small businesses in particular to seek out those large primes who have won contracts with us, or future subcontract opportunities, to look up and look out for small businesses who are presenting small business opportunities, partnering or teaming opportunities, so that you can better equip yourselves to go after large prime contracts. We do have a long-range acquisition forecast that's posted to our small business website. Currently, we are going through a process throughout the Department of the Navy Small Business Office to come up with one standardized format for our long-range acquisition. And so we anticipate that format being standardized and ready for prime time within the next few weeks. And so be on the lookout sometime between the middle of December and the beginning of January for those updated long-range forecasts to be posted to each of the buying command small business websites, as well as possibly the Department of the Navy's website, where they list the links for all of the small business websites. We do conduct contracts quarterly industry days. Our next one is scheduled for December the 1st, so be on the lookout. You can register on sam.gov to attend those. The next one will be a hybrid event, so you can attend in person or you can attend virtually. And once you go out to sam.gov, you'll find the details on how to register for that event, and then you can decide if you want to attend in person or if you want to participate virtually. One of the last things I want to emphasize is that the CMMC process is still underway. Due to COVID, there was an extension on when all small businesses had to have that certification. But I would encourage each of you to continue working toward that CMMC level 3 certification so that that doesn't become a roadblock or hindrance in you winning government contracts. Each year, or in some cases every 2 years, each buying command is required to come up with a small business strategy and to post that small business strategy to our website. So a few highlights of our small business strategy is, one, we're developing a vendor list as a management tool for all our contract specialists to have something to use when they're doing market research. We're doing virtual as well as in-person vendor days, as well as small business roundtables for industry discussion. Our next small business roundtable will be scheduled for December the 15th. For any of you who may be interested in participating in one of those small business roundtables, you can send me an email or give me a call, and of course my point of contact information will be available on the last slide. We're encouraging small businesses to participate in OTAs or other transaction authorities. That other transaction authorities allows us to award contracts without going through the typical or the traditional contracting or acquisition planning process. It really speeds things up, and it increases the amount of dollars that we can use for certain types of special contracts. We're urging our small businesses, we're urging our program managers and contract teams to think about and involve small businesses more and earlier in the acquisition process. And also, we're providing training on a regular and recurring basis to all of our program management, contracts teams, so that they can become more aware of the small businesses that are out there that are able to help us in accomplishing our mission. Next slide, Wendy. This slide, we should be on the small business initiative side. I already mentioned our small business roundtables. A couple of other key events or initiatives that we plan on doing in FY23 is a small business day, as well as our Modern Day Marine Expo, whereby we will do an advanced planning brief to industry. Also, during the year, we'll do one-on-one in-person and virtual meetings with industry. And as always, we want to increase our knowledge and utilization of Hub Zone and women-owned small businesses. Traditionally throughout the federal government, the Hub Zone and women-owned small business goals are typically our biggest challenges. And we also will continue to conduct our technology demos, our tech talks, as well as encourage greater usage of the DoD Mentor Protege program, as well as encouraging greater usage of our service-enabled veteran-owned small business, women-owned small businesses, as well as Hub Zones when it comes to small business set-asides. The next slide just shows what our small business goal achievement was during FY21. You see all greens there, which means we were successful in meeting all 5 of our small business targets during FY21. However, on the next slide, you'll see that we weren't quite as successful. But there was a good news story. Even though we didn't meet our percentages for FY22, we did meet our goal of exceeding 500 million awarded to small businesses. We were actually able to award $537 million to small businesses, and our goal was only 500 million. So we exceeded our dollar goal by $37 million. which basically put more money into the pockets and bank accounts of small businesses. One of the reasons that we did not meet our percentage goal is, whereas we typically award somewhere in the neighborhood of 2.0 or 2.2 billion as our total spend, because of one of the larger vehicle programs that we fielded or started to that entered into full rate production, the amphibious combat vehicle, our total spend for this year increased to almost $2.7 billion. And of course, because of that increase, our percentages awarded to small business decreased. And so we weren't as green, if you will, as we would like to have been this year in meeting our small business goals. But that just gives us the motivation and inspiration to work even harder in getting more and more small business set aside during FY23. Next slide, please, Wendy. Some of our challenges, as I just mentioned, we've had an influx or an increase in large prime awards due to those full rate production of large vehicle programs. So that is impacting the ability to achieve a 20 to 25% small business goal. I don't know if you all are aware, but last week, the Secretary of the Navy, as well as Mr. Smith, released some information whereby at least 5 of the larger contracts within the Navy are going to be explored or investigated to see if we can break those up, to see if we can award a little bit more or a larger percentage of those dollars to small businesses. And I think that's going to have a really, really great impact on not only the businesses that are going to benefit from that, but also in encouraging other organizations and other agencies throughout the government to seek opportunities to break up larger contracts to see if there's more opportunity in those for small businesses. Of course, our major outreach events were impacted by the pandemic, but those outreach events, in-person events, are returning. Trust me, I've been to several events during this year. One event I attended in Tampa earlier this year in May, there were over 14,000 attendees. The Army just completed its AUSA convention at the Washington, D.C. Convention Center in October. There were upwards of 50 to 100,000 attendees there. And so in-person outreach events are back. I would encourage you, whenever you have the opportunity and resources, to attend those, to get out to as many as you can. There's great opportunities for matchmaking, networking, and just getting your company's capabilities out there and aligned with agencies throughout the government that can match your capabilities with their requirements. One of the other challenges is just we're seeing an increase in consolidated actions, and we realize that sometimes that's necessary because of the unpredictability when it comes to funding. Right now, the entire government is operating under what's called a continuing resolution, which means if Congress does not approve a budget by December the 16th, we will basically be operating, the government will be operating without a budget. So we're hoping that now here that the election is complete, that we will have a budget, a full budget for the remainder of FY23. If not, we will probably be operating under another continuing resolutions until the Congress decides to pass a full budget. Of course, the need for stronger industrial base will always be there. And I mentioned earlier the CMMC certification. That's still a challenge, as we all know, for small businesses. And of course, the supply chain resource management as well as resiliency is still a challenge as well because of what's happening over in Ukraine and throughout Europe and the Middle East. Next slide, Wendy. We're down to the last couple, and then we're going to have a little bit of time left, I hope, for questions. So this particular slide just shows where our forecast as well as our small business strategy can be located. Our website is listed at the very bottom. I believe everyone will get a copy of the slides, but if not, please make a note of our website, or you can just go out to Google and insert the word Marcor Syscom, and it will lead you to the link for our small business programs website. On our small business website, you will find a copy of our small business strategy for FY22 and 23, as well as the current version of our long-range acquisition forecast. But as I stated earlier, we will be updating that forecast, hopefully around the middle of December, and we'll be posting it to our website. So that should be available between the middle of December and the early part of next calendar year. Next slide, please. This slide basically just shows some of the recommended contract vehicles that we currently utilize within the Department of the Navy, as well as the Marine Corps Systems Command. Seaport Next Generation has been around for a couple of years. It was formerly called Seaport E or Seaport Extended. We still use and award a lot of our IT-related requirements on NASA SOUP 5. We utilize the GA schedules, GSA Schedule 70, GSA Schedule IT, GSA STARS 2. And of course, we do a lot of small business set-asides outside of Seaport Next Generation. And so I would encourage you to be on the lookout on SAM.gov and Seaport Next Generation for the types of contract vehicles and the types of contract awards that we plan on awarding in the upcoming fiscal year. Next slide, please, Lindy. This slide just basically shows some of the upcoming outreach events that I will be supporting personally. Next week, I'll be out in San Diego supporting the National Veterans and Business Network Conference. It's a 2-day conference there in San Diego. Later this month, the Industry Inter-Service Training, Simulation, and Education Conference takes place at the Orange County Convention Center. We'll have our quarterly contracts industry day and the 1st of December. And as I mentioned, we'll be doing a small business roundtable there at Marine Corps Base Quantico on the 15th of December. Any of these events that you see listed, if you would like more information on either how to register or participate for those events, please feel free to reach out via email or give me a phone call, and I can provide that information for you. And I think we've reached the end of it, the end of the presentation. The information that you see on this slide is my email, my phone number to my desk. I'm currently working in the office on Tuesday through Thursday. I'm working remote or teleworking on Mondays and Fridays. If you send me an email or if you call that number on the screen, I check the voicemail each and every day. I respond to the emails, either my direct email or if you send it to the general mailbox, which is MCSC OSBP@usmc.mil. That's the general mailbox. Whenever I receive mail into that mailbox and respond to it, then you'll have my personal email. But please make a note of the email address, the link for the small business website, as well as the phone number there. And as I mentioned, if you have any questions, if you have any desire to attend any of the upcoming events or to learn more about upcoming outreach events that we plan to do within the Marine Systems Command, please feel free to give me a call or send me an email. That's the end of the presentation. And at this time, I think if we have time, I'd like to field some of your questions. Are we taking questions, Wendy?
Yes, we are. Thank you so much, Mr. Johnson. And for everybody's awareness, we will be sending out a copy of this presentation to you by tomorrow. By tomorrow morning, we'll be sending out a copy of the presentation to you, okay? So our first question is there a place where subcontractors can connect with primes currently working with the Navy?
I'm sorry, say again, Wendy.
Oh, yes. Is there a place where subcontractors can connect with primes currently working with the Navy?
Well, I hope I'm understanding the question. Is whoever asking the question, if they're talking about where they can meet with these companies personally, as I mentioned earlier, a lot of these events that I had posted on the second to the last slide, a lot of those large businesses are there exhibiting, and they're exhibiting at these conferences and outreach events so that small businesses who are interested in subcontracting with them or interested in partnering with them on certain opportunities, that they can make that contact. A lot of the outreach events that I attend, where I do small business matchmaking, those events are also attended by the small business liaison offices of large primes, and their primary mission is to find small businesses that they can use for subcontracting opportunities, as well as opportunities to partner with some of these small businesses to help provide them assistance, or to partner with them on some of the smaller contracts that small businesses typically win, but may need large primes to support them in completing the terms and conditions of those contracts. And so I would definitely encourage attending any outreach events that you would think that large primes would be attending, as well as going out on some of the social media sites. I know LinkedIn is one where a lot of large businesses are found. And you can also go out to sites like sam.gov and do a search of contracts by the top 10 large primes. And that's also a good resource to use as well.
I'd also like to interject. On our website, we have a section where it is search what the Don buys, and it shows per quarter each of the contracts that have been awarded, both by NAICS and by PSCs, awarded and funded. So you can always check our website to see which contracts have been awarded and reach out to those companies that have been awarded the larger contracts and see if you can subcontract with one of them.
Thank you, Ms. White. The next question is, which U.S. Marine Corps office will be responsible for purchasing small drones less than 55 pounds?
Small drones would be Marine Corps Systems Command. Any system that would be used by the warfighter would be procured through the Marine Corps Systems Command. As I stated earlier, Marine Corps or INL are those installation-related contracts, and anything that the warfighter or the Marine would use to perform their warfighting mission would be procured within the Marine Corps Systems Command. And so we do have a program manager for unmanned systems who basically procures all of the drones and unmanned systems for the Marine Corps.
Thank you. Mr. Johnson mentioned directories of which we should be a part to be accessed by the Navy. I heard GSA, but I didn't hear the other names of the others. Could you post those? Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. How can a SDVOSB pitch an innovation project and leverage an OTA?
So we do have within the Marine Corps Systems Command, as well as the Department of the Navy, we have a small business innovation research and small business technology transfer office where any what we call unsolicited proposals or white papers or any capabilities that a company would want to propose or seek out additional resources or dollars to pursue as an R&D project, or if there's already a capability that they would just like for the Marine Corps to receive a demonstration of, we could coordinate that through, like I said, our SBIR or STTR program manager, or by reaching out to my office as well.
Thank you. The cost of CMC is extremely high. Does the DoD have any plans on making the training more affordable to small businesses?
The last time I heard DoD speak about doing something to not only address the cost, but also to offer some of the training required at DOD is back in September, I was at the National Hub Zone Conference out here in Chantilly, and they are looking, the DOD Small Business Office is looking at that. There are some companies out there, some small businesses out there who are advertising, assisting companies, other companies, and getting that CMC certification. I would caution against hiring or doing business with any of those companies until you find out for sure what the DOD is going to provide, as well as if the requirements are modified or changed, because I wouldn't want to get ahead of the DOD Small Business Office and pay money to another small business or any business for that matter that are promising to help you to achieve the CMC Level 3 certification when the requirements or the timeline or the cost may change.
Thank you. Are there opportunities without a contracting vehicle, like perhaps micro purchases?
Yes, any opportunities below the simplified acquisition threshold, which is now $250,000. According to the FAR, those opportunities, first of all, must be set aside for small business, unless there's absolutely no small business that can do them. And as for micro purchase threshold, there are a number of opportunities out there, and I would definitely encourage reaching out to all of the small business offices within the Navy to find out where they are. A lot of times they're not posted because they're the dollar amount and the types of items whereby those micro purchases are the instances when they're used are usually for quick buys, if you will, or things that need to be put on contract very, very quickly. So the best way to be aware of those is to establish some type of communication with a small business office for the organization that you're trying to market to or trying to support, and just reach out at least on a weekly or bi-weekly basis to find out where those opportunities may be.
Another question, do Department of the Navy do business with hospice?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Do the Department of the Navy do business with hospice?
You mean hospice, like hospice care?
Yes.
Destiny, you want to address that one?
I am not exactly sure, but it is a great question. I would be happy to provide my email, and you can reach out to me and I will take that for action.
Thank you, Destiny. So our next question is, do you have a set aside contracts for SDVOSBs?
Yes, we do. In fact, a lot of my competitive SDVOSB contracts are awarded again through Seaport Next Gen. So I would highly recommend registering for that particular vehicle. There's rolling admissions in January and July of each year. However, a lot of small businesses will partner with other small businesses or large primes who are already on Seaport Next Gen. But a lot of our service disabled veteran small business opportunities are out there, and we award them through not award them, but we solicit them through SAM.gov as well.
Thank you. Does the Marine Corps have a test facility that our products could be sent to for demo and testing?
We do have an organization within the Marine Corps, the Marine Corps Operational Test and Evaluation Activity. The headquarters is there at Marine Corps Base Quantico. I would definitely start there first And then we have other testing areas such as the amphibious vehicle test branch out at Camp Pendleton, California. We test a lot of things out at Yuma Proving Grounds in Yuma, Arizona. And there are other opportunities or places that we do testing, but the first stop would definitely be the Marine Corps Operational Test and Evaluation Activity, or MICATIA, at Marine Corps Base Quantico.
Thank you. I see that we are 3 minutes over. Is it okay if we answer? I see about 3 more questions in the Q&A box.
I'm fine with it.
Okay, thank you. The next question is, what branch is in charge of supplying fitness equipment for gyms?
That would be Headquarters Marine Corps INL, because the gyms are part of the respective installations. And so anyone that wants to provide fitness equipment to any of our gyms, and of course, everyone knows how the Marines are about physical fitness as well as mental health. So I would definitely reach out to my colleague, Carlton Higgins at Headquarters Marine Corps INL to see if any of our installations require any gym equipment, if you will, for any of our fitness centers on base.
Thank you. How and where to get the CMMC certification?
There is a website on the DoD OSBP webpage. I would definitely go out there, and I'm going to add the link to my website. So if you did come out to my website in the next few days, you could get there through my website. But the primary place to go is to the DoD OSBP. Just Google that. Go out to their website, and you'll find a link to all of the things that are out there right now throughout the DoD as for CMMC certification.
Is there any particular branch of the military in charge of keeping up and supplying? Oh, wait, we already answered that one.
Okay.
Mark that one. Can you tell me where to search for opportunities for aviation assessed maintenance and repair services?
I think a good starting point would be our colleague down at Naval Air Systems Command at Pax River, a gentleman by the name of Shelby Butler. If someone wants to shoot me an email, I can provide his information, or you can visit his website via the Navy's small business page. They have a link to all of the buying command websites, and you can get to Mr. Butler that way as well.
Do you know which base is responsible for ordering medical supplies?
I don't think there's any particular base. I know we do have a program manager for tactical and expeditionary medical supplies, such as, combat ambulances and things of that nature. But when it comes to medical supplies, let's say for like our National Navy Medical Center at Bethesda, or some of the other Navy health clinics, those would probably fall under the installation regional contracting offices for those particular installations or locations.
Okay, and I'm sorry.
The short answer is if it's tactical or medical supplies that would be used in a wartime theater, we would order or we would procure a lot of those type items. But if they're for fixed medical facilities and hospitals, and those would go through the particular installation regional contracting officers that support those installations.
Thank you. And then, who is in charge to transportation and logistics for freight, heavy equipment, and oversight material?
Here again, for transportation assets, if it's in a tactical, if it's moving things around in a tactical environment, we do award some of those type contracts, but by and large, the Marine Corps Logistics Command at the Marine Corps level, and then the Defense Logistics Agency, DLA, would handle most of those type contracts when it comes to not only transport, but storage, as well as transport and storage would be something that under the Defense Logistics Agency as well.
Thank you. Thank you for that. That was the last. Oh, I'm sorry. It was one more question. Can you explain how a business partners not on SOUP partner can partner with a SOUP participant?
I would really have to do a little bit more research on that one. My gut would tell me is the best way to to partner with someone who's on that particular vehicle is just to seek out companies that may or may not already have access to that vehicle. But like I said, let me do a little bit of research with companies that I know are out there and find out if they've ever partnered or teamed with other companies that were not already on the vehicle.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Mr. Johnson. Thank you, Ms. White, as well. That was the last of the questions that we had in the Q&A. For the participants, what you see on the screen now is regarding a quick survey. Once this training concludes, a survey will appear. If you can please go, take your time and complete it. Your responses will be used as part of our continual service improvement effort. For your awareness, when making your selection, the agree selection is last instead of first. So again, thank you to all the speakers. Yes.
One thing, the last thing that I would like to share with everyone is that on the 4th of November, the SBA administrator, she shared some updates on the SBA's new Veteran Small Business Certification Program. And one of those updates was a plan to give a 1-year extension to all veteran-owned small businesses that were previously verified with the Department of Veterans Affairs, because I don't know if everyone is aware, effective January the 1st, the SBA is going to take care of that certification process. And so one of the things that she noted is that any new entrants that were certified by the agency after January 1st will get a certification period of 3 years. But basically, anyone who has already self-certified before as a service-disabled veteran-owned small business will be given a 1-year grace period effective January the 1st, which will run through January the 1st of 2024 to make sure that they are certified by the SBA, because effective January the 1st, 2024, any small business, any service-disabled veteran-owned small business that have not been certified by the SBA, they won't be eligible for those VOSB or SDVOSB contracts. And so I would encourage people to go out and read that article. It was published in the Executive Gov website by Ms. Isabella Guzman on November the 4th. And if someone can't locate it, just shoot me an email and I'll forward it to you.
Thank you so much for that information, Mr. Johnson.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and conclude this meeting. Everybody, please have a good rest of your day.
Okay. Thank you for inviting me, and thanks everyone for attending.
Thank you.